Welcome to the Media Pros Show, the show that gives you quick, simple tips to grow your business by serving as an expert in the media. Learn how to get all the TV, radio, podcasts, magazine, newspaper, and online interviews that you want, and learn how to be great in those appearances. I'm Dr. David Geyer, orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine specialist, and media health and wellness expert. When you start doing media interviews, especially early on, you're going to have journalists, reporters, show hosts, and producers reach out to you as an expert wanting your comments, wanting your quotes about a particular topic. Now, usually this is something time sensitive based on something going on in the news that day or that week, and those are terrific. Always do those. Those are really good. But as you want to start doing more interviews because you're trying to get more customers, clients, patients, trying to grow your business and practice, you need to start pitching those journalists and reporters and producers and show hosts and suggesting ideas for the articles and show segments that potentially help the public and position you as an expert. Now, the key is coming up with articles and show segment ideas that aren't just going to interest the producer and the writer and the reporter. Obviously, that's a given. But you want to attract the person at home or the person driving in their car who's listening or watching or reading. They have to be topics that, basically you're an expert in, that you're comfortable talking about. They have to be topics that position you as an expert so that, hopefully you do get more customers, clients, and patients. Now, unfortunately, ideas come all times of day in all kinds of scenarios. So you need some sort of system, some way to collect ideas that basically you can then go back to remember and use to pitch going forward. I use a system called Evernote. Now, the actual system doesn't matter that much, but Evernote is sort of this online filing system, and it's got a tool that you can install in your web browser. I use Safari, so it's installed in Safari, and when I see an article online, I click the Evernote button. It's this little green button with this elephant on it, and it saves that article and a link to it so you could go back later, but it saves it either as a native article with all the images and pictures, or it can be a simplified article where it's just the text, and it goes into a specific notebook. I created a notebook in Evernote called Media Pitch Content, and so I'm saving all these articles. They're going into this folder. And there's other ways, if you're not on your laptop, that you can basically email it into that Evernote notebook, and so all your articles and potential ideas, all your research is in one place. Doesn't have to be Evernote. It could be just a folder on your computer's desktop. It could be a service like Dropbox. It could be something physical like an actual box or a file folder that you put in a file cabinet. And that system, whatever you use, will be where you store all your ideas, all your articles, and all your research. And then you have it all together when you're ready to go and pitch. The pitching is a whole other discussion, and we'll talk about that in a future episode. But now the question gets, so you've created your system, however you're going to do that, where do those ideas actually come from? What are the sources of those ideas? So I want to give you 5 places to look for ideas that you can then find topics to pitch to the media. The first would be academic journals in your field or in your specialty. Now, in medicine, there's tons of academic journals. There's the New England Journal of Medicine, there's the Journal of the American Medical Association, and hundreds of others. When I was just doing sports medicine interviews, I basically focused on American Journal of Sports Medicine, Orthopedic Journal of Sports Medicine, and Sports Health. But, any field has some sort of academic journal or scientific publication with new research and new studies. And the media loves this because this is breaking news in that field that the public needs to know. But in its native form, in the academic form, nobody at all outside of that field understands it. So your role as an expert then would be to explain it in easy to understand language and tell the public what they need to know and what they need to do with that. So academic journals of some sort, very, very helpful. Another one would be an RSS feed based on topics in your industry. Or you could do this with Google Alerts for various terms, topics that you're really comfortable with. These won't be as academic as what you see in the journals, Still, though, they can be very, very helpful because a lot of times this is still very relevant information for the public. And essentially what you're doing is you're filtering out the noise, all the articles you don't need, and you're not going to all these different sites every day spending hours. You're getting just a stream of potentially very relevant articles that give you a long list of ideas all delivered to you so you can just check it for 5 minutes a day or every couple of days. RSS feeds, Google Alerts can be very helpful. Third would be press releases from your parent organization, your governing body, or your specialty society. And again, this isn't just medicine. This can be law, finance, accounting. These organizations very often put out press releases for maybe new guidelines or something that they want the public to know. And they send these out to the media as well. And yeah, a writer or a reporter can just basically rewrite that press release and run it as an article. But they usually don't just do that. They're going to want an expert to put it in context, to offer quotes and offer examples and what the public needs to know. So in being a member of that organization, hopefully these press releases are also coming to you. You see one of those and keep it somewhere or see lots of them, then you've got ideas to pitch to the local media. Those can be very, very helpful. All right, number 4, this may be a little more fun. Celebrity magazines like People Magazine, Us Magazine, and similar magazines. Now don't laugh. I am dead serious about this. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor, lawyer, financial planner, accountant. I mean, any type of expert, this can be helpful. Because let's face it, celebrities have issues just like the rest of us do. They have health and medical issues, they have legal issues, they have financial issues, whatever. When news about celebrities having some type of issue that's in your world, in your industry, when you get that in the media, your local media would love to have somebody talk more about it, and that needs to be you. This is before COVID, I'm the medical expert for 2 TV stations here in Charleston, South Carolina, and I appear now every day in this post-COVID world, and I do it remotely from home. Maybe be back in the studio at some point, but at least right now it's still remote. But right up until COVID, I was appearing in studio once a week on an interview segment called For Your Health. And most of the time I would suggest the topic. Occasionally the producer would suggest a topic or the news director would, but most of the time I would suggest a topic. And very often I use this People Magazine thing a lot, and they've got an online feed that you can put in Apple News or all sorts of other things. It's great. And one day I remember seeing in People Magazine online this story about how Alex Rodriguez and Jennifer Lopez, A-Rod and J-Lo, in preparation for their wedding, they were doing fasted cardio to look better. And so I sent this article to the producer and said, hey, we need to do a segment on this. She said, oh, I love it. Let's do it. So the next day, or maybe it was later that day, I can't remember, sit down, do the interview. The host introduced the segment. So you may have heard that A-Rod and J-Lo are doing fasted cardio to look better for their wedding. So here's Dr. David Geyer, ABC News medical expert. Thank you for coming. What are they talking about? What is fasted cardio? So start the interview, explain what it is. And if you're wondering, fasted cardio is where you don't eat breakfast in the morning, or at least not right away. You go straight to the gym and do the elliptical or the bike, something like that, to burn calories. But by not having calories in your body already, your body switches to burning fat earlier. In theory, it improves your body composition, burns fat, it helps you lose fat. That's the theory. And obviously that's something that's going to appeal to a lot of people. So by introducing it as J-Lo and A-Rod, you're introducing a topic that may influence a lot of people. So explain what it is. Then he asks, is it safe? Is it effective? How can people start doing this? It was a great 2 or 3 minute interview on something that I know people care about. If celebrities care about it, you can bet the media cares about it. Trust me, you will get tons of interviews if you start flipping through People Magazine and then pitching those ideas to your local media. And last, questions that your patients, that your customers and clients ask you. If you get a question about something more than once, you can bet that tons of people that aren't your customers, clients, and patients, they have those same questions. And the media loves topics that people want to know the answers to. So if you get a question more than once, write it down somewhere. Put a list of those questions somewhere, because you can bet other people have those. And not only are you creating an idea for an article or show segment that people will want, but if you share information that answers people's questions, they think, hey, I need to go further and deal with this more because you're sharing information that shows them what they need to do, they might hire you to be, their doctor, their real estate agent, their financial planner, whatever it is. So that is a terrific, terrific source of ideas for media segments. One of the things I do with the coaching clients I work with one-on-one is that you and I figure out exactly who your ideal type of customer, client, and patient is. And then we look and create a collection system for articles and topics. So basically you have this library of ideas that you can pitch to the media to try to attract those customers, clients, and patients. And we'll talk about pitching again in a future segment. Now remember, just like in my coaching generally on this website, on this show, and this podcast, I'm not giving you specific business advice. It's not medical, legal, financial advice, any types. Talk to an expert in that area if you need specific advice. But if you potentially want more interviews and you want interviews that position you as the go-to expert in your field, in your town, if you want basically people coming up to you and saying, hey, I saw you on TV, that information was really helpful, how can I work with you further? I can help you become a media pro. Go to MediaProsCoaching.com, click the button to sign up for a free 30-minute strategy call with me, and we'll figure out where you are in your business, what you're trying to achieve, and then I'll figure out with you some simple strategies you can implement to get more customers, clients, patients, grow your business, and practice. While you're on the website, click to get my free Media Pros interview checklist, simple list of easy tips, things that you should do every time before every type of interview to make that interview go great, and hopefully you get asked back over and over again. As you work to become a media pro and you're creating all this information that helps people in their lives, always remember the words of the great Romanian sculptor Constantine Brancuso: create like a god, command like a king, and work like a slave.